So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take this underdash panel apart. There was already a side piece here which covers the fuses. I just pulled that off. Now once this piece here comes off, there was an underdash panel which I already accessed. I didn't show you, but it's just a piece you just grab two squeezy clips, pull it down, and that enabled me to get the wires through to the firewall and the engine bay. So the next thing I'm going to do is, in my car, in this Monte Carlo anyway, it's two 7mm screws on the bottom, and this here is just two clips which hold it together by pressure. You can see that that's all they are, is just these pressure clips. Most cars are like this. They might be round, they might be, you know, square like these ones. Okay, so my antenna is mounted up. I got it across my headliner underneath here, and I'm just going to basically use this hook tool. You can use a panel tool, whatever you got. Just follow this pillar down. And like I said, like in this car, there's a little harness over here on the side of this fuse panel. I mean, not that anybody's ever going to look in here, but that's the way you should work. You shouldn't work by doing things that people are going to see. Judge your work by the stuff that you won't see. That's how you know when you're doing a good job. When the stuff that you'll never see looks just as good as the stuff that you're going to see every day, that's when you know you're a real installer. And although this car does not belong to me, believe it, I treat this car just like it was, because it's my reputation. You should look at things the same way. So here's my antennas running down. Actually, I don't have a whole lot of extra slack left over, and that's good. You know, so this car worked out really well. So now I can move on to my next part. So one of the first wires I'm going to tackle is going to be right here in this harness in the center of the underdash. In here, coming from the steering column, there's going to be my horn wire. And how it is that we test the horn wire in this car, and like most cars, is this is my test light. It's a dual voltage test light. I can throw ground and I can throw 12 volts. I know that most people don't have the luxury of using one of these. However, a cheap test light, which does for $1 at the dollar store, actually does the same thing, because it'll feed back ground through the light bulb filament to the wire that you can actually target. But since mine doesn't throw feedback when I touch it, it's not going to do a darn thing. But when you're sitting on the wire, it's going to show you what it is, whether it's open, ground, or 12 volts. And in this case, you can see this wire rests at 12 volts. Now when I depress the horn switch, it's going to conduct ground to this wire, and it's going to switch, like you saw there, from red to green. Or if I throw ground into the wire, it does my horn function. So now that I've located that, I'm just going to take my self-adjusting wire strippers, which are the ones I was telling you about when I was working under the hood. These are the tool of my choice, because it self-adjusts. You just take it to the target wire, separate it like so. You see what happened? It actually created a little space for me to grab onto. I take my hook tool and this thing's about as sharp as my test light, I see. Make my little hole. I'm going to take my wire, and again, all my wiring is going to go from my main alarm system underneath this plastic panel up and over. That's the way I want this to be. And at this point, I know where I'm going to mount my alarm. It's going to be mounted right up around here, so I want to leave myself a little excess wire, but I don't want to get too crazy either. So that should about do it for me. I'm going to come around, tap on. After I do this connection, I'm going to move over to the main ignition harness. I'm going to do all my connections for my starter, accessory, powers for the main alarm, as well as the power window module. And then I'll do all the rest of the connections one by one.